The sky above Verx-9 was dark and heavy with storm clouds. The ground below was cracked and dry, broken by deep canyons and sharp rocks. It was not a place meant for people. But they were there anyway. Years ago, a colony ship had crashed into the planet. Only a few hundred survived the crash. They called themselves the Deathworlders now. Though no one remembered who gave them that name, they sent out a distress call, a signal that traveled through space, bouncing from satellite to satellite until it reached friendly ears. Or so they thought. Commander Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of the Federation cruiser Atlanta. He watched as his sensors picked up the signal. "It's weak," said Lieutenant Karen Moore, his second in command, "but it's real." Hayes nodded. "We're the closest fleet. We respond." His crew moved quickly. 3 ships broke formation and headed toward the surface of Virex-9. As they got closer, something didn't feel right. Scans showed movement, lots of it. Large shapes moving fast across the land and orbiting above. "Those aren't native life signs," said the sensor officer. "Those are ships." Hayes frowned. "Federation? Unknown? They don't match any known design." Moore looked uneasy. "Could be pirates. Or maybe someone else made it here first." The landing team went down in shuttles. Armed Marines, medics, and a small diplomatic group stepped onto the hard, rocky soil. A group of people waited for them. They wore rough clothes, patched and worn. Some had armor made from old machine parts. Their eyes were sharp, tired, and suspicious. One man stepped forward. His name was Kyle Langford. Once a Marine, now a leader. "You shouldn't have come," he said. Hayes raised an eyebrow. "We received your distress call." "We came to help." Kyle shook his head slowly. "We didn't send that." Moore checked her data pad. "Signal came from this exact location." "Then someone else used our frequency," Kyle said. "Or you're not supposed to be here." The tension grew. The Deathworlders didn't look like survivors begging for rescue. They looked ready for war. Hayes tried to calm things. "We mean no harm. We want to help." Kyle stared at him. "Help? You think we need saving?" Before Hayes could answer, the sky changed. Above them, hidden in the darkness, something massive moved. Ships, dozens of them, emerged from hiding. Sleek, fast, and deadly. The Federation crew looked up in shock. "Sir," shouted the comms officer over the radio. "We've just been targeted." Hayes turned pale. "By who?" "By them." Kyle didn't move. He just looked at Hayes and sighed. "Welcome to Virex-9. *********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** potential farmers, doctors, engineers, and soldiers. They came to Verax 9 not as warriors, but as colonists, hoping to build a new life, but the planet did not let them rest. The first year was the worst. Food was scarce. Shelter was weaker than it should have been. Animals that no one had ever seen. Before attack at night, many died. Kyle Langford remembered those days clearly. He had been a Marine back then, part of the peacekeeping force on the colony ship. When the crash happened, he helped organize the survivors. He lost his wife during the third attack. She was taken by something big and fast, something that moved through the trees like smoke. He never found her body. After that, he changed. He trained others how to fight, how to survive, how to watch the shadows and know when danger was near. Mara Delaney became his closest friend. She had been a teacher before the crash. Now, she planned attacks and defenses like a general. She taught children how to use weapons before they could. Read well. Leo Cruz built machines. He used broken parts from the crashed ship to make tools, armor, even small fighter drones. Over time, they made bigger things, ships hidden in orbit, traps on the ground, and weapons that could reach the sky. Priya. Malik learned to listen. She studied enemy signals, watched for spies, and kept secrets. She knew who to trust and who to fear. Together, they built more than survival. They built a new way of life. They did not ask for help. They did not expect anyone to come. They believed the Federation would never find them. And if they did, they would not understand what they saw. VREX-9 had changed them. Now, standing in front of Commander Hayes, Kyle looked into the man's eyes and saw pity. Maybe in fear. Hayes thought he was looking at helpless survivors. Kyle knew better. You think we need saving, he said again, voice low. But you don't understand what we are. Around them, other Deathworlders stood still, watching, waiting. More, the Federation officer, looked nervous. If you didn't send a distress call, then someone else wants us here, Kyle nodded. Or wants us dead. Above them, the ship stayed silent. Waiting. Ready. The Deathworlders had survived everything this planet could throw at them. They were not afraid of strangers from space. Not anymore. Asterisk. The air between the two groups was thick with tension. Neither side moved. The Deathworlders stood like statues, watching every move the Federation soldiers made. Commander Hayes tried to keep calm. He looked at Kyle and spoke slowly. We came here to help. We don't want trouble. Kyle didn't blink. Then you should have stayed away. Behind him, a group of younger Deathworlders shifted uneasily. They had seen what strangers could bring: disease, war, betrayal. They did not trust these newcomers. One of the Federation Marines, a tall man named Greg, grew impatient. He muttered something to his friend, who laughed. The sound broke the silence. A young Deathworlder girl stepped forward. She had sharp eyes and a scar across her cheek. She said something in a low voice, but the Marine only smirked. Then it happened. With lightning speed, the girl moved. She kicked sand into Greg's face. He shouted and raised his weapon. Someone fired. It was not a real shot, just a warning burst into the ground. But that single spark was enough. The Deathworlders reacted like a storm breaking loose. Mara Delaney pulled a small device from her belt and pressed a button. The sky above them lit up as hidden ships powered on. From orbit, the Armada stirred. Leo Cruz had been waiting for this. Deep inside the command center, he gave the order. Activate all units. In seconds, hundreds of Deathworlder ships dropped their cloaks. Sleek, fast, and deadly, they flew out from behind asteroids in high orbit, engines roaring to life. On the surface, Kyle turned to Hayes. You brought this. Hayes stared at the sky, stunned. What the hell is that? Above them, the first. Shots were fired. Federation ships scrambled to respond, but they were too late. 2 frigates exploded before they could even raise shields. One ship tried to run. It fired its engines and turned away, but 3 Deathworlder fighters chased it down and tore it apart. Kyle watched from the ground. His jaw was tight. He had hoped it wouldn't come to this. Moore ran to Hayes, shouting over the noise. We need to retreat. Now? Hayes looked dazed. They can't do this. They're just colonists. They're not colonists anymore, Moore said. They're warriors. Above, the battle had begun, and the Deathworlders were not holding back. Asterisk. Inside the command center, deep beneath the cliffs, the War Council gathered. It was a small room with heavy steel walls and glowing screens showing the battle above. Kyle Langford sat at the head of the table. His face was hard, but his eyes showed the weight of what had just begun. Across from him were his closest allies, Mara Delaney, Leo Cruz, and Priya Malik. Mara spoke first. Her voice was calm, but firm. We hit them hard. 2 frigates are down. One tried to escape, but we took it out. Leo leaned forward. Our ships are faster, better hidden. We control this space. Priya looked at the screen. But now they know what we can do, and they will tell others. Silence filled the room. Kyle finally spoke. Did anyone survive on their flagship? Priya checked her datapad. Yes. Commander Hayes is still alive. So is his second-in-command, Karen Moore. Mara frowned. Should be dead. All of them. Leo shook his head. If we kill them, the Federation will see us as monsters, not just fighters. They already see us as enemies, Mara said. Kyle raised a hand. Enough. We need to decide what comes next. Mara crossed her arms. Simple. Destroy the rest of their fleet. Send no survivors. If they live, they bring more ships. Leo disagreed. No. We let one go. Let them carry our message. We show them we are not afraid. We show them we are strong. Priya nodded. And we warn them. Come back and we fight to win. Kyle looked at each of them. He thought of the years spent building this world, this people. He thought of how many had died to make the Deathworlders what they were. He made his choice. Let one ship escape. Not the flagship, too risky. Pick a damaged one. Let a few officers live. Give them a warning. Mara looked angry, but she didn't. Argue. Fine. But if they come back with more ships, don't say I didn't warn you. Leo turned to a technician. Send the order to orbit. Disable one ship. Leave it floating. Let them run home scared. Priya typed quickly. Message ready? Should we include video? Kyle stood up. Yes, I'll speak. Let them see who we are. Outside, the battle still raged, but inside, the Deathworlders had already decided the future, not just survival, but strength. And the galaxy was about to learn what that meant. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The battle above Varex 9 was ending. The Federation flagship Atlanta still floated in orbit, but it was badly damaged. Smoke rose from its left side. Engines flickered. Shields were gone. Inside the command center on the surface, Kyle Langford gave the order. Take it. Mara Delaney nodded. She turned to a nearby officer. Send the strike team. From a hidden hangar carved into the cliffs, a small group of Deathworlder pilots ran to their ships. They wore rough flight suits and helmets made from old parts. Each one knew what to do. They flew up fast, dodging fire from the Atlanta's last working guns. The lead ship, piloted by Leo Cruz's top student, Jess Tanner, locked onto the Federation cruiser. We going hard, she said over comms. Board and take control. Her team agreed. In seconds, they hit the Atlanta. Magnetic clamps latched onto the hull. Airlocks sealed. Deathworlder soldiers moved inside like shadows. On the bridge, Commander Daniel Hayes bled from a wound in his side. He stood anyway, shouting orders. Fight them. Push them back. But it was too late. The Deathworlders had trained for this. They moved fast, silent, deadly. Karen Moore tried to stop the fighting. She grabbed Hayes' arm. It's over. We can't win. He pushed her away. I won't let a bunch of stranded colonists take my ship. A blast rocked the bridge. Lights flickered. Alarm screamed. Then the door blew open. Deathworlder soldiers poured in, weapons raised. They wore dark armor and carried captured rifles. At their head was Kyle himself. Hayes reached for his sidearm. A shot rang out. He fell with a grunt, clutching his leg. Karen rushed to him. Stop this! It's done! Kyle stepped forward. He looked around the ruined bridge. Then at Hayes. You should have listened, he said. He turned to Mara. Secure the ship. Leave the wounded alive. Take the rest. Mara nodded. She signaled her team. Within minutes, the Atlanta was under Deathworlder control. Back on the surface, Leo Cruz watched the feed from orbit. He smiled. First real warship, not bad. Priya Malik stood beside him. Now the message will be clear. Above Verax 9, the once proud Federation ship drifted. Now flying under new command. And across the planet, Deathworlders watched the sky, knowing something had changed. Not just the battle, but the future. For the first time, they did not just survive, they won. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Inside the prison block, the captured Federation officers sat behind thick metal bars. Some were hurt, others just looked tired. None of them spoke much. Karen Moore stood near the front, watching as a Deathworlder guard checked the locks. She had seen war before, but not like this, not like them. They were not wild or cruel. They were quiet, focused. Every move they made had purpose. Even the youngest ones carried themselves like soldiers who had fought more than once. A door opened. Kyle Langford walked in, followed by Mara Delaney and Priya Malik. He looked at Karen. "How are your people?" he asked. She crossed her arms. "Some need real medical help. We're not used to surviving like you." Mara stepped forward. "You mean you're used to being saved?" Karen didn't answer right away. She looked around. The prison was carved into the rock, lit by cold lights. It was built for safety, not comfort. "Why keep us alive?" she finally asked. Kyle studied her. "Because you might learn something." He turned and walked out. Mara and Priya followed. Later that day, Karen was taken on a tour of the settlement. She saw how the Deathworlders lived not in fear, but in control. They farmed underground, using lights and water from deep below. They built homes inside cliffs, safe from storms and beasts. Children trained with small weapons, learning how to fight before they could read maps. She saw a girl no older than 10 take apart and reassemble a rifle in under a minute. "This isn't survival," Karen said to Priya. "This is war training." Priya nodded. "We don't have the luxury of peace, not here." Karen looked at the sky. "You could have asked for help." Mara, walking beside them, gave a short laugh. "And say what?" "Hey, we've been living on a death planet. Can you spare some medicine?" Karen didn't respond. They reached the edge of the city. Beyond it, the land stretched wide and empty, broken by jagged rocks and dark forests. Kyle waited there. He pointed at the horizon. Out there, things hunt at night. Not just animals. Sometimes other survivors. Sometimes worse. He looked at Karen. "We didn't ask for help because we knew one thing." She met his eyes. "What's that?" He smiled, but it wasn't happy. Nobody comes for the ones they've already left behind. Karen stayed silent. For the first time since landing, she wasn't sure who the real survivors were. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Kyle stood in front of the camera. Behind him were Mara Delaney and Priya Malik. The room was dark, lit only by a few lights built into the walls. There was no flag, no symbol, just them. "Record," Kyle said. The camera started rolling. He looked straight ahead, his face calm but serious. "This is for the Federation," he began. "And for anyone else listening." He took a breath. "We were left here to die. Our ship crashed. No rescue came. We learned how to live on this world, not just survive. We became stronger. We built ourselves from nothing." Mara stepped forward. "Slightly. We didn't ask for help," she said, "because we knew you would never come, not unless it served you." Priya added, "You think we are still like you. We are not. We are the Deathworlders, and we do not belong to your laws." Kyle continued, "If you come here again, you will not find helpless colonists. You will find soldiers, ships, weapons, and a people who will fight to keep what is ours." He paused. "Do not test us. We will not be weak." The screen changed. Now it showed the sky above Verax 9. Hundreds of Deathworlder ships floated in orbit, sleek and silent. Some moved fast, flying in perfect lines. Others hovered like hunters waiting for prey. It was not just a fleet. It was an army. The message ended with a final line across the screen. Varix 9 is not yours. Back at Federation headquarters, the message spread fast. Officers watched it. Over and over, some called it a threat. Others saw it as a warning. Admiral Carl Benson slammed his fist on the table. They destroyed 2 of our ships. We cannot let this stand. Senator Elaine Grant shook her head. And start a war with our own people? Look at them. They're human. They're survivors. On public channels, the message caused even more chaos. Some citizens cheered. They saw the Deathworlders as heroes people, who refused to be forgotten. Others feared what it meant. If a lost colony could build an armada, what else were they capable of? In hidden corners of space, other eyes watched 2 alien empires that had ignored humanity before now paid attention. One species, long watching from afar, sent a quiet signal across the stars. Perhaps these humans are not as weak as we thought. And, somewhere deep in the galaxy, a new plan began to form. Not just about Varix-9, but about what the Deathworlders might become. Asterisk, 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 back at Federation headquarters. The room was full of arguing voices. Officers, senators, and generals sat around a long table. They had just watched the Deathworlder message again. Admiral Carl Benson stood up. This is an act of war. They attacked our ships without warning. We must respond with force. Senator Elaine Grant stayed seated, but her voice was firm. No, we do not rush into battle with our own people. Benson pointed at the screen. They are not our people anymore. They call themselves something else. They have their own army, their own rules. Grant shook her head. They were abandoned, left to die, and instead they survived. More than that, they thrived. A general spoke next. What they showed us, those ships, those weapons, it took years to build that kind of power. Someone else added, and they did it alone. Outside the meeting room, the public was already talking. On news channels and spaceports, people argued about what to do. Some said, they're heroes. They proved humans can survive anything. Others warned, they're dangerous. If they can beat our fleet, what stops them from attacking others? In secret, other groups watched too. On a dark world far from human space, a group of alien leaders gathered. They studied the message, frame by frame. One of them, tall and covered in smooth black armor, spoke softly. We thought humans were weak, slow, always fighting each other. Another replied, but this colony, they built an armada. They fought like one mind. The leader looked at a glowing map of known space. Perhaps it is time we speak to them. Back in the Federation, a new plan was forming in the shadows, not from the admirals or the senators, but from a small group inside intelligence. They met in a hidden room. Maps and data filled the walls. One agent said, we can't fight them. Head on, not yet. Another nodded. So we sent someone in. Learn how they work. Steal their tech. Find their weakness. Their leader, a woman named Lisa Reynolds, gave the order. Prepare a team. We go to Varix-9. She looked at the image of Kyle Langford on the screen, quietly. Somewhere across the stars, the Deathworlders had sent their message, and now the galaxy was listening. Some with fear, some with respect, and some with plans of their own. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Deep under the surface of Varix-9, the ground shook. Not from storms or war, but from digging. Teams of Deathworlder engineers worked in tunnels carved through rock and stone. They followed strange signals coming from far below, signals that had been there since the first crash. Priya Malik stood with Kyle Langford near a control panel. Lights blinked on screens showing maps and readings. The signal is getting stronger. she said. It's not natural. Kyle looked at the data. You think it's alien? Priya nodded. We think so. Maybe older than our colony. Maybe even older than the crash. Mara Delaney walked in, covered in dust from the tunnels. We found something. You should see it. They followed her deep into the earth. After walking through tight halls and metal doors, they reached a large open space. Lights were set up around a massive wall of stone, but it was not just stone. It had lines smooth, clean lines that did not look like nature made them. Symbols were carved into it, glowing faintly blue. Leo Cruz was already there, studying the markings. This isn't just old, it's built. Someone put this here. Kyle stepped closer. He ran his hand over the cold surface. What is it? Leo looked up. A door or a screen? Maybe both. Priya typed on a small device. The symbols lit up more. A low hum filled the air. Then, suddenly, images appeared, not random ones. Records. They showed scenes of other worlds. Planets like Verex 9. People like them. Some colonies survived. Most did not. This place, Mara whispered, wasn't just a crash site. It was a test. Kyle stared at the images. We were never alone. Leo pointed to one scene. Look, they watched us. Maybe from far away, maybe still watching. Priya turned to Kyle. Maybe we passed their test. He didn't answer right away. Finally, he said, or maybe they're waiting to see what we do next. Above them, the Armada still floated in orbit. The Deathworlders had built a new life, thinking they had done it all themselves. But now, they knew the truth. Something else had been here before them. And if they were being tested, then the real test might still be coming, somewhere in the dark. Eyes were still watching. Waiting. Asterisk. Kyle stood on top of a cliff, looking out over the land. Behind him, the city of the Deathworlders stretched into the rocks. Ships flew high above, moving like birds across the sky. He had read all the records now, the ones found beneath the ground. They showed what Verex 9 really was, not just a planet, but a test, a place where people were left to see if they could survive. Some colonies failed, his did not, and now, the Deathworlders knew something else. They were not alone. Mara came to stand beside him. What do we do now? She asked. He thought for a moment before answering. We keep going. She looked at him. You mean stay here? Wait for someone else to come? He shook his head. No. We go out. She raised an eyebrow. Into space? Yes, he said. We have the ships, the knowledge, the strength. It's time we stopped waiting to be found. Back in the command center, Priya Malik worked with captured Federation data. She sent messages through hidden channels. Not just warnings anymore, but offers. To other lost colonies. To those who had been forgotten. Come. Join us. Leo Cruz oversaw the upgrades to the fleet. New engines. Better weapons. More ships being built every day. We're not just defending this world anymore, he told his team. We're building something bigger. Karen Moore, the former Federation officer, watched it all happen. She had chosen to stay, to learn, to understand. One day, she asked Kyle, Are you still human? He looked at her. What does that mean? She shrugged. You don't act like the people I know. You fight harder. Think differently. He smiled slightly. We are still human, just more than before. Above Verex 9, the Armada grew. Ships left orbit, heading to distant stars. Not to attack. But to find others like them. Those who had been left behind. Those who had survived. And those who were ready to rise. Across the galaxy, the name Deathworlders spread, not as a threat, but as a promise that no one would be left behind again. And somewhere far away, watching from the dark, the unseen watchers saw what had happened, and they whispered among themselves. The test is over. They passed. Now, let us see what they will become.